So how does ITIL fit in with other frameworks and practices? There are no alternative IT service management frameworks that compete seriously with ITIL. The uptake of ITIL through worse competitors have achieved. There are lots of complementary frameworks and practices, as shown here, developed by different stakeholders at different times for different reasons. Covering them all and how they relate to ITIL would fill a whole other course. So we won't do that here, but you can find white papers that map ITIL to almost any other framework or practice. Some fit ITIL very well, but for a particular purpose. For example, in the case of ISO 2000, providing a standard for organization-level certification and audit around service management practices. There are emerging practices, DevOps, Agile and Lean in particular, that ITIL has embraced. However, the community is driving these practices or are not embracing ITIL in varying degrees. The key is to find what's useful to you from all of these and leverage it. And new practices have emerged including DevOps, Lean and Agile better suited to this changed business and IT environment. With IT-enabled services now an integral part of businesses, IT service management has become a critical strategic capability. It helps businesses visualize and manage the key outcomes and practices required to balance stability, predictability and quality with operational agility and faster time to value with continuous improvement. ITIL 4, introduced in 2019, was created to provide the guidance organizations need to address today's service management challenges in today's business and IT environment with today's best practices. Here are the key differences between ITIL version 3 and ITIL version 4 in a nutshell. ITIL version 3 was introduced in 2007, updated for clarity in 2011, and retired as a training and certification path in 2022. In 2007, most IT was physical and on-premise virtualization took off and the cloud started so. The practices cited as examples in ITIL version 3 are suited to what we now refer to as traditional IT. Remember, best practices are what people do now that works. So ITIL 4 is circa 2019. While we aim for many of the same outcomes now as we did back then, how we reach those outcomes, the practices has changed. This is because the typical IT environment we manage has changed to a hybrid of traditional IT, cloud, and mobile. The real difference between ITIL version 3 and 4 is how outcomes are achieved. In ITIL version 3, it's through 26 processes and 4 functions arranged in a life cycle. In ITIL 4, it's through 34 practices, which you can think of as capabilities and which can include processes and functions, including DevOps, Agile and Lean practices in a service value chain.